Good morning or afternoon, wherever you're from. Just doing some invites real quick. Hey, Ash, how you doing? You have an open panel if you want to come on in. Okay. Once again, everybody, we have an open panel. Hello,
Hey.
hello. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yeah. So I saw the Jip Jip has announced that she might be attempting to do some kind of career thing regarding cosmetology.
Ugh, I hate to see how that goes.
Yeah, well, I did a video on this, showing just some of her history of cosmetology. Good morning or afternoon, wherever you're from. Just doing some invites real quick. Hey, Ash, how you doing? You have an open panel if you want to come on in. Okay. Once again, everybody, we have an open panel. Hello,
Hey.
hello. How you doing?
I'm doing okay. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Yeah, so I saw the Jip Jip has announced that she might be attempting to do some kind of career thing regarding cosmetology.
Ugh, I hate to see how that goes.
Yeah, well, I did a video on this, showing just some of her history of cosmetology, including the botched hair that she done on herself, the salon centric thing, just some of the mommy makeover day stuff. And it didn't, you know, just in case anybody wants to become a client of Schmurderer Gypsy, Schmurderer Gone Stylist, I'm going to at least put out a video saying that this might be your result.
I am so passionate about like this case and everything that I literally my mother-in-law gave me a bunch of nail polish from a house that she cleaned, and it a lot of it's pink, and I literally will not put the pink nail polish on because I feel weird about it knowing what Gypsy did to her mom. Like it's like a trigger for me. Like I can't, because a lot of people obviously, know my story, and I just can't put pink stuff on because of that. Like nail polish, I avoid it.
Yeah, I can understand that. Unfortunately, like I'm hoping that Gypsy Rosa does not ruin, future endeavors because she's taking up on it. If you had cosmetology in your passions before, don't let a schmurderer ruin that for you. You go your
She
own way.
ruined pink nail polish for me because of what she did to her mom. I
Yeah,
will
I
not.
can only imagine her asking her friends if she could dye their hair. And I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, well, and you want to know
She
what?
is
Like,
delusional.
if she does show any before and after results, I doubt they're going to be genuine. It's probably going to be like something
Right.
found on the internet, or it's going to be something that maybe someone else helped her with or did, for the most part, and then she's going to slap her name on it. Again, it's just like she might attend the courses, but then there's that thing called, what's that word? Effort that's
Yeah.
required for something like that, and it's not going to be some easy thing. And besides, I'm not sure how many different cosmetology programs are gonna take a murderer into the program and to begin with. So,
It's just
there's
funny because she's so delusional.
yeah, something like that.
Not
And plus,
funny.
I'm pretty sure there's trouble in I don't know. There might be trouble in paradise, considering like I'm still kind of baffled about like I mean, again, I don't really take Sir Morbid's panel very seriously, but the whole boarding the dog thing. Like, if what Ken is saying is true, unless he's just being a liar, he's boarding his dog. It's like, why do you need to do that if you supposedly have someone at home that can do that? And if you
Well,
can't
that's
trust,
my thing. That's what I'm concerned about, Justin. Because I was talking about people with this the other day. Is my concern is why is he having to board Parker, but Gypsy, like, I just feel like Gypsy's not safe to be around when it comes to Parker or Aurora. And I'm not gonna say too much about the baby because yeah, but because I mean I have respect, but I'm just simply saying that I think that she treats that poor baby doggy some type of way. I think that she takes her anger out on that dog.
well, you saw the blanket video, and Parker was like 2 feet behind her. God forbid, with her impulsivities and with her flying off the handle, and everything else that's happened with her.
Right.
Supposedly, the dog ended up being collateral damage in some way. I don't
I
want to
don't know.
say
I'm
like,
just concerned. I'm just concerned for everybody involved in that house. That is having to be around Gypsy's behavior.
last year when I had Ken on my live stream, he one thing I told him was like, I think most people are concerned, not only just about him, but his child altogether. And he's like, why? It's just like, well, you should be happy that there's people like concerned for your child
I'm
because
concerned
let's see,
about Parker. I'm
you,
concerned about the
yeah,
child. I'm concerned about all of it.
I'm hoping that there's
Yeah,
no
he.
collateral
It's
damage because of some, crash out that she's having, and for whatever reason. And again, like Ken tried to like downplay that whole situation, like, oh, couples when they get mad cut up blankets and use sharp objects on stuff all the time. It's just like
if
not
you're a
really, dude.
teenager, then yeah, like I'll admit I did that kind of shit when I was younger,
Yeah, but
but
she's
I
in
was
her
a
30s. She's like,
teenager.
yeah, mid 30s, not teenager.
And maybe it's Leo energy because, I'm a Leo too, so maybe that's it.
To me,
But, it's mainly a teenager thing.
Yeah,
there's
I'm
no
gonna
justifying it. Because yeah, there's no justifying it
Yeah,
because
I'm an Aquarius. We tend to sort of shut down and internalize things like this. We don't really fly off the
No
handle, at
wonder
least
we
not
get
that I know.
along so well.
Yeah, Aquarius, and from what I've, especially going by myself and some others I know, we sit and think about this for a while and then decide what to do with it. At least we try to. I'm not saying we don't
Yeah.
have moments, but it's just like not Gypsy Rose moments. We have our own.
Yeah, we're both fire elements.
Yeah, we for the most. I mean, again, everyone's different, but as from what I've read about Aquarians, we try to use our we try to appeal to logic rather than emotions most of the time. We're less emotional regarding anger, but more emotional regarding love. You know what I mean? We're very expressive when it comes to love, but when it comes to anger and stuff like that, we're not really too quick to fly off the
Right.
handle, at least from what I've researched. But again, like every astrological sign has their ups and downs. There's no perfect sign out there. But what's
Right.
weird when I was married at one point. This is like a unique experience. I ended up marrying the person I ended up marrying was also an Aquarius. So it was kind of not only was that the first person I was ever with that was an Aquarius, but I ended up marrying that person not because she was an Aquarius, but just well, back then I kind of married for the wrong reasons. It was like I used to date for the wrong reasons. I would take pity on people, and you know what I mean. Like people appealed to my empathy and stuff like that, and they saw like a window where it's just like oh, I've never been given a chance, and I've never been this and that, and it's just like I would be the guy that tried to be like everything's gonna be okay, just relax, and it's just like that was my biggest mistake. Is just like yeah, I shouldn't have done that. I should have just taken what I saw and just kind of, you know, doesn't matter how much they pity themselves. It's like that doesn't mean I have to pity them. And a lot of the times, like when I looked into their situations, A lot of it was self-inflicted. It's not like
Right.
something did something to them. I'm not saying they haven't been through anything, but at least the things that they told me about was self-inflicted, and they had every, they had control over the situations. They didn't have to be like, oh, I need you to come save me. It was a damsel in distress kind of thing. And again, that seems to be, that's part of Gypsy's narrative, damsel in
Yeah.
distress.
Yep.
Nick, my mommy is this. I mean, I don't believe that for one second. Again, like, who says something like, well, I didn't know I was being abused until my lawyer told me so. It's just like, well, maybe your lawyer was just feeding you a bunch of nonsense, feeding you a narrative, and then colluding with the media and colluding with your stepmother and being like, hey, we have to, lie our way out of a long prison sentence, so we're going to come up with whatever. And I believe the Shabu's narrative was like the third strategy, not even the first one. I think they were trying to lean towards other defenses at the time. But even so, let's pretend that the Shabuse was true. How come that wouldn't be considered a defense? Because, all
Right.
things considered, Mike Stanfield basically said, well, if this goes to trial, she's done for. It's like, well, wait, I thought she was abused. If she was abused, then why would you think that? You have a legitimate defense, but apparently not.
Wouldn't that be part of like Stockholm syndrome then if she
No.
was abused?
No, no Stockholm syndrome. It's more like she enjoyed all the Disney trip syndrome.
Right, right.
I mean, Disney World has been like, I mean, every single picture, even the one where she's just like, I'm going to Children's Mercy Hospital for my teeth. It's like, even someone pointed out a really good, someone did some good detective work and looked at the background of that photo. That was at Magic Kingdom's resort hotels. So it's like she literally lived at Magic Kingdom. That was like her second home, if not her main home.
Wow.
So it's just like, and even to this day, it's just, I think there's like a big stipulation or big, discrepancy going on where I think Rod Blanchard's taken Mia to Disney and Gypsy's apparently not invited. And believe me,
I bet that
if you want to
pisses
pee
her
off,
off.
if you want to pee off Gypsy, then you know what? Don't take that girl to Disneyland. And her knowing that other people are going to Disney is going to, again, it's just like nothing's changed with her. It's just like she's the same, like, little kid antics that have been attached to
Right.
her for the life.
Yeah, and that's why,
The
like,
person that triggers her the most.
Absolutely.
nothing too much has really like been going on like in like the whole gypsy world and stuff or whatever, so I've kind of stepped back. Like, I haven't even been making content about gypsy and stuff because I just feel like I'm just, following it all, and it's just, I'm just waiting for a positive outcome to come in all of this, like, yeah, right now nothing's going on though, not much anyway.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just one thing about Gypsy Rose's case altogether is just how corrupt our justice system can be. Because I
Oh,
mean, look at all the moving
absolutely.
parts. Look at all the moving parts that had to come together for her to get that sweetheart deal. You had to have first of all, the prosecutor admitted that he made this deal with her before he had a lot of the discovery information given to him, which he
Right.
actually admitted that if he had known certain aspects of the case, he wouldn't have made that deal. That's why you don't rush into things like this. The deal was already made, and but even so, it's like the information could
Well,
have been brought to a
And he
judge.
was only given certain things. The lawyers were given only certain things. Well, Stanfield was giving certain things to certain ones. And, like, from what I think Audrey posted, he was not given all the stuff. He was just saying, "Oh, this stuff might like bore you, so I took this part out so you don't have to watch this, blah blah blah." And just shit like that. And it's like, what the fuck? He should see the whole thing.
well,
Yeah,
I'm starting to look at the positives of it. Like, I'm starting to see the positive things about it. Like, at least we've finally we've got all of the FOIAs out. We've got all of this, positive, like, this evidence. And like, I just feel like we are making, and she continues to expose herself. She exposes herself continuously.
absolutely. And then on top of that, like we have this whole thing. Did you ever see that? I believe it's in the FOIAs where Mike Stanfield wrote an email citing that he actually it was an email to the prosecutor saying that he purposely did not, or not purposely, but at least said that he's not enclosing any medical records.
That's what I was
Yeah,
gonna
that's what
say
I was
because
talking
It's like,
about.
I
why wouldn't the prosecutor be like, well, no, I would like to see those medical records? Again, that's like, it's just like,
Yeah, why is a
it's just like the
prosecutor taking
prosecution,
a
like,
defense attorney's word for things
it's
that
no,
happened?
it's the opposite effect of basically where like a prosecutor fails to provide exculpatory evidence to the defense. It's like the defense is just as responsible for providing inculpatory
I
evidence to
think
the
that
prosecution.
what makes me happy is Gypsy's really like she's really becoming irrelevant. Like right now, like I think that she's really like becoming irrelevant. Like she's not even relevant. She's not even relevant anymore. Nobody even thinks about her anymore, you know.
Where do you see that happening exactly? She's been on podcasts recently. She's been on interviews recently.
Yes.
She's still posting and getting tons of likes. She's still getting sent money and gift cards and gifts. She was literally on a live doing a live battle, and people were sending her gifts when she wasn't even in the room. And at the end, she just like walked in from off camera. She just had this thing up the entire time. She's still profiting.
Rocky. You're
Oh
talking
yeah,
about with Rocky, right?
I hate the fact that she's profiting. Yeah, like that's the worst part about all of this.
Well, you gotta understand.
Yeah, I'm in the
She's
UK
already
and I
said-
don't understand it, how she's been allowed to become famous off.
Well, I want to bring
Yeah,
that up
mom's
because
life.
if you, in the Mackenzie Shirilla case, you guys know the big sister on Hinge. That's Christine Russo, Dominic Russo's sister. She's trying to get Dom and Davion's law passed, where it's basically the modernized version of the Son of Sam law.
I'm just
Where
saying that like
Yeah, no more murderers to be profiting or to get infamy or to get some kind of any kind of gain, monetary or otherwise, based off of the notoriety.
Well, that's it with Gypsy, though, isn't it? She used the internet to plan her crime.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
well,
and that's where it should have never been allowed.
Another reason why this sets a very dangerous precedent is because not only because the judge failed to put a gag order on any of this when Christie and their defense, Mike Stanfield and Gypsy started to collude with this fake Shabush narrative, they were also putting out documentaries, and one of them, especially "Mommy Unalived and Dearest," went out 2 days before Nicholas's trial. To me, that's like jury tampering.
Well,
Yeah,
not to
big
mention
time.
what they did with Dawn, what Fancy and them did with Dawn, getting her to aggravate Nick during the end of his trial, getting them to make Nick look violent by playing mind games with him. I mean, Fancy and Gypsy and Christy set that up.
Yeah, absolutely. And a responsible judge would have been looking at this and been like, this is dirty tactics. Like, you're going to not only like trying to manipulate your own trial, but you're also going to compromise Nick's trial.
They don't look at shit. The judges don't look at shit. In my brother's trial, the judge didn't even know like anything. Like, even from what the last time we were in court to the very previous time we were in court, from one court date to the next, he didn't even remember that the guy had said he killed him over a laptop. Like, it became irrelevant. He didn't even remember the case. It was like a whole new case to him because of all the cases he sees. They don't even look back into it or look at anything. They don't even give a shit.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, again, it's like this case had a lot of politics surrounding it regarding with the DA's re-election bid and stuff like that. So he was like, since this narrative was already allowed by a judge instead of a gag order being put in place to go out to the media as a collusion, basically what happened was the DA did not want to take a chance with optics looking like he was going after a victim that's already been put out into the media as a victim and then blow his re-election bid. So therefore, the sweetheart deal.
I don't understand.
Well, they also get a file on their desk.
Podcasts and interviews, and none of them seem to research the crime or any of the FOIA documents. Only ask soft questions, and nothing is hard hitting.
I mean, to
It's
me,
like
here's the
they've
thing.
got a gag order on them.
Well, here's
They can't.
Here's the part that a jury needed to see, in my opinion, is you see the crime happen, you see the time, go through the timeline where the murder happens, and then you go straight to the Brownie video, and it's like that tells you how Gypsy's feelings about that whole debacle between her mom being unalived and she the one planning it, and then also right before where Gypsy texts Nick, the shh is about to go down tonight. If they just saw that little bit of evidence, that would have been it for her. It's just like the Schmidt is going down tonight, and then go straight to the Brownie video after the crime, right before they're being arrested, and that's basically all you need to see. Anything that's said about that is basically fluffy stuff.
Oh, and the jabbing video.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, yes,
unfortunately.
yes. And believe me, I've tried to get her supporters to acknowledge that video, and they change the subject as fast as possible. Just like, okay, well, why would she deliver an instructional? Oh, did Nick make her do that too? No, she did that because she wanted to show him the layout of the land. So
She did that because she gets off on that shit. She's sick.
yeah, absolutely. And
I
well,
literally
you know
got a
what?
message.
And plus the fact that she mailed the murder weapon to Nicholas's house to basically put the
Set him
put
up,
the
basically.
send the physical evidence right to right to the man she wants to throw under the buses. To me, in my opinion, the interrogation is everything. That's everything to me because it
Yeah.
shows.
Yeah, but
She
the
really
judge doesn't
thought
even
she was
watch
gonna
that
walk away.
shit. The judge doesn't even have a hand in it. They just get a file on their desk and they don't even know the background or anything. The case that we just went to see, the judge didn't know shit and he was rushing them. He was like, hurry up, get a verdict. I don't really care. We've taken too much time already. And it hadn't even been like 4 days at that point when he was like rushing them. And I'm like, this is a double homicide. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah,
They
right.
don't care. The judges do not care. They're not invested.
I mean, and
Right.
another thing is, even look at Mackenzie Sharilla's case. Even though the judge really had it angry with her, it's like if again, it's like I always say, like part of it might be like I don't want to say it's for sure, but sometimes this is the case. At least what I've seen in a lot of these is, and I'm not saying it hasn't happened with men too, but there seems to be like a thing for young females that judges sort of have like a precedent with because if a man, let's say Dominic was the one that unalived Mackenzie and one of her friends. In that case, he would have had two, life without parole sentences. But Mackenzie gets a 15-year to life concurrent. It's just like this is a double homicide, and she has a chance for parole. Really? It's just like not one. I mean, people do it in one homicide and get the book thrown at them.
Well, that's
Even
the
with
same with Gypsy, though, and the district attorney and the prosecutor and everything, because she'd previously
Shut
shot
the
the
fuck
mum so
up,
many
Crystal
times with a BB
Kramer.
gun and chased her with a
Fucking drug
knife.
addict.
guys, be nice. Be nice.
So, like, she's already tried twice to seriously harm a mum, but she's the
Yeah.
abused.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's another thing is also, yeah, the evidence of like previous harm and previous inflictions that she put on her mother, like the pew pew incident, like that, and there's physical evidence of this when they went into the hospital. It shows the diagram of the injuries that Dee Dee had sustained during that, and also the fact that there seems to be a theme that everyone's willing to cover for Gypsy. Her mom, what'd she do? She didn't make her face accountability. No, she cooks up this story about, or maybe Gypsy was the one behind the driving force. I don't know, but like, mom, we're gonna say some boogeyman at Walmart did it, and that's the end of it. I'm not going. It's like crazy, but there's been no accountability with somebody like her. And again, I think this is another reason why she's so in love with Ken, is because Ken had the ability to say goodbye and I want nothing to do with you, at least at this given time. And boy, she fell in love with that because she's never really experienced that before. And it's like one of those like reverse psychology things. It's like if you want to really keep somebody, give them something where it challenges them, and it really challenged Gypsy. And I call Gypsy one of two things: no job Gypsy and no ring Blanchard. Those are like the top two names I have for her.
Yeah.
You're right.
But yeah, because it's like if you take a look again, that's why Mia is one of her biggest triggers, because it's like, first of all, Mia is 10 years younger. She's what I mean, if you want to compare the two of them,
She's beautiful.
Mia
Compared
is
to
about
Gypsy,
Younger,
she's beautiful.
pretty.
Mia is a supermodel compared to Gypsy, and then on top of that, she's got a wedding coming up. She's not just a baby mama, or just again, no.
Well,
I guess
it's
what I
not
call
that
Gypsy,
Rod's been
no
in
ring.
her life the whole time, whereas he hasn't with Gypsy, and that's
Yeah,
what she
well,
can't stand.
that's why I call Gypsy no ring Blanchard, because it's like Mia has the ring, Mia has the career, she's got a really noble career of that. She's a delivery nurse, and that takes some serious training to do stuff like that. And again, like of course, Gypsy cosmetology. I mean, nothing against people that do that, but from what I heard, it's not the most difficult thing to achieve. And I think she's going for a certificate, not even a license. Because I dated a girl that had just the certificate, and like she made barely any money. Like she probably spent more money like having a like because like when you get into a job like that, you have to like rent your own space unless you work for somebody, and then even when you're
Yeah,
working
I've
for
been
them,
in the industry. I
that
know what
that
it's
boss,
like.
I remember this boss was telling my ex at the time, like she had to spend like $1,000 out of pocket to buy new drapes for the room and retheme it and put all this new stuff to put all this atmosphere in there. And at the end of the year, it's like she took home maybe $16,000. I'm like a welfare recipient was making more than she was. So crazy
What's your
stuff.
take
But
on the baby, no baby scenario?
there's a baby. In my opinion, I've not gotten to the place where Aurora is just some
Because
phantom
they
baby
seem to
that Cherry
have
can
a
come around.
lot of time to themselves. There never seems to be any time for a
I
kid.
think that that's an extremist way of like when people say that. That's just extremist. Yeah, I
I
don't
think if
know.
there is
I'm not
one,
going to
I
knock
don't
down
think she
if
has
people believe
custody.
that. I respect people that believe that
Everybody's
theory. I
entitled
just
to
don't
their
believe it.
opinion, you know.
Of
I'm
course,
just
and
saying.
I respect that, and I understand there's like some court paper discrepancy. Well, first of all, we haven't seen every court document regarding everything that happened between because again, she had that baby out of while she was in wedlock with somebody else. It was already complex to begin with. That she was
Yeah, because
married
Ken's
but
just
having a
recently
baby with
said on a
someone.
live that Aurora doesn't even say mum yet.
Yeah, because she was not divorced yet, and she decided to conceive with she was again like one thing that another triggering thing I think I asked one of her supporters was like, do you acknowledge that Aurora was born out of adultery? And I'm not saying like that makes someone a good or bad person or whatever. That's not it's pretty common nowadays, but still, it's like Aurora's gonna know that she was basically born with a different last name because mommy was
Right.
married to somebody else. And again, it happened so
Well,
fast.
Justin, the more that you know that what you got, they're gonna have that little girl so brainwashed. Like they're gonna,
Yeah,
she's gonna by the time she's old enough to think for herself, she's really not. She's gonna be so brainwashed by then.
unless
By
unless
Maybe
Ken
not, unless she gets on the internet.
unless Ken comes to his senses quick
Yeah.
enough where he can actually undo the narrative that he's always believed in his own mind because of Gypsy and gets her away from Gypsy. And at best, again, like suppose like he's threatened to take Aurora in the past and go to Texas with her. Texas would Gypsy would be dead to rights in the state of Texas. They would acknowledge her as the biological mother, but since she's got murder on the record, they would never allow her to possess a child, not unsupervised, and definitely not in any custody, situation. It would automatically. Hello, Australia. I love you
the
guys.
Australians.
I have a lot of Australians that watch actually, and yeah, I like Sky News. I watch Sky News from Australia. You guys are really cool. I like some of the Australian news networks, but a lot of good Australian films. I got to see the Philippo brothers. They did Talk to Me, Bring Her Back. I love the Babadook. Like there's
My
some
favorite
really
artist,
good.
my favorite artist is from Australia, Kid Leroy.
Oh,
That's
okay.
what I always say.
What's that one pop punk band from 5 Seconds of Summer? I think they're from Australia.
Yeah, I
Like
think so.
country or something, or like
There's a lot of good Australian music. They have a they have a beautiful country too. My God, every time I see like
a
Australia,
lot
like
of deadly
every time I see their
animals.
landscapes and the way people dress, there's a lot of beautiful people there. I was like,
I
wow.
would like to go there. I would like to go there eventually. I've been wanting to.
It's just on the other side of the planet. It's just
They have
way.
a lot
It's a
of venomous
long flight
spiders and
away.
all that. Those big spiders. Ugh.
Gosh, I'm
Oh my
terrified
God,
of spiders.
those are called huntsman spiders, and my God, they are terrifying.
I'm
They
terrified
Yeah,
of
I have
spiders.
terrifying.
arachnophobia.
I would rather fight off 50 kangaroos before dealing with one of them. And besides, kangaroos are pretty cool too. It's just I heard they're dangerous animals. You don't want to. They're not to be trifled with, which that's fine. But it's like I heard there's a lot of cool animals there, and I heard there's some like you don't want to get near. But I just want another puppy.
Right.
If we're gonna talk animals, I miss having a puppy. I'm gonna do another one. Once my work schedule can slow down a little bit and. Yeah, you know what I mean. I would love to get another. My favorite breed is actually Australian Shepherds. But here's the thing about Australian Shepherds: they were not bred and developed in Australia. It was actually the Australians that made them popular. They're actually an American dog. In fact, some people call them American Shepherds, but they're called Aussies or mini. I had two mini Aussies at one point, but Australians made them Hey, GRB toothbrush, my favorite. And you've been doing some amazing work, by the way. And like, I gotta DM you about some stuff. There's some stuff of yours that I want to collaborate with, so I'm gonna get a hold of you soon. But yeah, just when it comes to Australian Shepherds, my favorite breed of dog. It's like you know what I mean, because my dog Cowboy was around when my two brothers were still around, the ones that died from muscular dystrophy, and he was like their dog, and he became like my once especially he had a lot of PTSD because both of my brothers like passed away inside of our home at the time when I was younger because I was in my 20s when they passed away. And yeah, Cowboy watched a whole bunch of people in uniforms and radios and shiny stuff all over their belts and everything, and he watched them take one of his family members and he never saw them again, and then he saw it happen again and never saw them again. So it's like he had some PTSD regarding that, and he really like latched on to me after that, like, especially because my brothers were the only other men in the house, and I was the remaining male in the house. And then even though we had a pit bull, she was a female. My mom's a female. My sister's a female. I was the only male left, and so he, had a very big attachment to me, like just for the fact that I was like the man of the house, and I was left of the male counterparts left in the house, and he, always said, "Hey, Esperanza," and just altogether, just he had a lot of PTSD from that. But no, I wanted to come on here and mostly address like what people thought about, and if you think Gypsy's going to go, go like through the process of actually getting her cosmetology like program done. It's probably not because
I don't think that she's going to be successful at it, and
no,
I have.
I don't think she's going to get through it because
then I'm going to be surprised.
It's going to require effort, and that's the problem with her. If it requires effort, she's going to get an F for effort.
And that's what I was saying earlier, Justyn, by like I said, I'm a huge believer in karma, and I choose to believe the more that I like learn about Gypsy, I choose to believe that like we're making so much progress, like positive change, that people aren't even gonna want Gypsy to do their makeup. Okay, I mean, look at that Tybot guy. Like he completely exposed her. Like he literally made sure to specify, like, hey, she only would do an interview with me as long as I don't talk about her case. I only talk about her prison time, which goes to show you that she brags about prison. She's proud of going to prison. That was not punishment.
I did a video on how she compared prison to college, and I'm just like, wow, if she was trying to give a sales pitch to somebody, and I asked legitimate questions like, do you need like do you have to maintain a certain GPA for prison, and what kind of prerequisites are required? Because it's just like, and then apparently the prerequisites are you have to commit like a really serious felony, like more than once. I'm like, well, I'm already disqualified right there, and that's discrimination. I think anybody that wants to go to prison college should be able to, and laws need to change for that.
Nobody's gonna want Gypsy
if it's as good as Gypsy says it is. You want to know it? Then there should be, there's discrimination against law-abiding citizens. It's like if law-abiding citizens want to go to prison college, they should be able to do so.
A lot of people are gonna lose.
A lot of people in prison do go to college in prison.
A lot of people are going to lose business and everything if they because people are going to raise hell about that. That's my thing. Like, I don't believe at all that Gypsy's going to be successful at it, to be honest, because I don't think that but I'm just saying, hypothetically, if she was, people would be raising hell, like, because there's more people that know the truth about her than there are people who support her.
Yeah. No, I know that. And
I have a problem with it are younger kids that idolize her.
And it's great because I think the narrative is getting out pretty well because like just in the past, like, and there's a lot of bigger content creators that I've noticed that have really gone into looking into the FOIAs, looking into Gypsy. I've seen a lot of major content creators, bigger ones, really covering like the FOIA aspects, and then also. That's helped the Gypverse here, like, even on TikTok. A lot of my old videos are getting like a whole alarming amount of new views. And then like, I've, what I mean? Even a lot, and I've asked other like content creators in the Gypverse, I'm like, have you had like a big spike in video views and comments and people like, following you? They're like, yeah. Like, what I mean? So I'm assuming that they're doing their research and like coming over to the Gypverse and, like, I'm among them. I'm assuming, at least. I mean, I'm not sure how.
And like, I'm sure most of us could agree, but like, that's just all like most of us just wanted from the beginning.
More
Is,
men. I want to
you
see more
know,
men speak out. It's like, I'm like, that's one reason I stuck with this, is because I'm like, there's a lack of men speaking out against Gypsy, because I think a lot of women have this preconceived notion that she's got some like stranglehold over men, and it's just like, no, she doesn't. It's like, any men with even a little bit of self-esteem can see right through her, and it's just like, all I needed to see, again, to me, that interrogation is everything to me. That's the real Gypsy Rose through and through. I mean, everything from pretending that she didn't know her mother was unalived and wait, what are you talking about, to well, now Nick can get help for his violent ways. Yeah, he unalived my mom. Yeah, he did.
most
It's
of
like, yeah, she knew
us,
this the whole time,
yeah.
and then she thought she could just talk about Magic Kingdom for an hour or two and get herself out of this. It's like, did she really think that they were just going to forget the topic of why they brought her there? It's just like, well, Matt, she tend to bamboozle me with Dumbledore and Magic Kingdom, so
It's
therefore,
psychotic.
here we
It's
go.
psychotic
Yeah,
behavior. The way that she was able to psychotically, like, as soon as she and Nick got arrested, she was able to snap her finger basically and snap her mind into to blaming everything on Nick.
see,
That was a
another thing is like,
calculated thing.
her side is like, oh, why is Nick? You think Nick told the truth the whole time? I'm like, yes, because it's not only what he said. What he said also fit the evidence, the crime scene evidence, and everything that could be corroborated with him has been corroborated. So again, if Gypsy was hoping that, again, like, people are like, oh, Nick didn't tell the truth the whole time. I'm like, I think if he did leave anything out, it was only for one reason. It was to protect the love of his life, which is Gypsy Rose. And he's even admitted there's some things or something he knows about her that he's going to take to his grave for whatever reason. The same way Ryan forever is, for some reason, going to just keep himself available in the unlikely or, definitely not likely event that, her and Ken break up, and she's going to come running back to him. She's under that delusion. So, yeah, it's just, I don't know.
Really sad.
It really is. It absolutely is.
And I think that most of us, the ones that are passionate about that, like about this case, is we just want her to be held accountable. That's all we want. We want her to be held accountable, and we want justice. We want actual justice, positive outcome.
Now, the part that, like, I'm wondering, like, that's always been sort of swirling in my head is like, yeah, she can't be retried for the actual crime, but what about the previous ones that she's admitted to, like attempted murder on Dee Dee Blanchard with the pellet pew pew and the dagger, and the couple other events that we know regarding
I don't think that happened though, because the victim in that case is dead.
Or what about the investigation that was going on at the time for all the fraud that both, I guess, her and Dee Dee were being investigated with at the time? What, that just ends because of the
Well, the
murder?
police said, didn't they, that there was no point going into that
Why not?
because of what happened to Dee Dee.
I understand that, but Gypsy's name was part of that investigation. This wasn't just on Dee Dee. This was Gypsy's name was in that investigation right along with DeeEe. So if that's the case, I think, like, you know what I mean? I think there's other things. It's kind of like,
I believe that Gypsy was the mastermind behind the con, and I used to think that was an absolutely like extreme opinion. But the more that I learn about this, and the more I see how calculative she is, I absolutely believe that she was the mastermind behind the con. Because when they moved to Missouri, she was old enough to know how to manipulate all on her own. She knew right
you
from
have to
wrong.
consider that the information she was giving to Dee Dee, she's admitted to Nick in the FOIAs that she was lying about her ability to walk. She was lying about, like, some of her symptoms, that she was either exaggerating, and it was all because she enjoyed the attention that she got from the wheelchair and what have you.
Yeah, it's when she was with her mum, she was the one who had hold of her mum's hands and was squeezing them. The same way she did to Ryan in interviews. Wasn't Dee Dee doing it to her, it was her doing it to Dee Dee.
Yeah, I think again because like as soon as I heard the Foyas where she's basically admitting to Nick that she has been keeping it from her mom, even though her mom should have known that. I'm not sure how much her mom knew about the medicals, like how how anything medically works. But it's like as soon as I would have seen Gypsy's legs and saw no atrophy, because I had brothers again with muscular dystrophy. Their legs atrophy because if you don't use.
I think that on top of a bunch of other like reasons that Gypsy took her mother, she obviously did it for the main reason. It was out of greed because she has admitted multiple times in her video diaries. She hinted around it in her interrogation. Because here's the thing, I believe that she tells the truth in small little bits and pieces. Like there's truth in her lies. There's truth in her lies.
Yeah, I think she wanted the house, the car, the money.
It's kind of like what they say.
She took her mom's money. She took her mom's rugs. She ran off with all of that stuff. Dee Dee came to confront her about it because Dee Dee wanted her stuff back.
She wanted her Zanny the nanny back. Absolutely. Yeah. And then get this. Who's ever seen that movie? Who's ever seen that movie, The Exorcist? I'm sure most of you have.
I have.
And you know what they say about the beast? That the beast is a liar. It lies, but it also tends to mix lies with the truth. Right. In order to confuse and dupe, and I think Gypsy fits that criteria.
That's the gaslighting.
But New Orleans lady is a friend, or was a friend of Dee Dee's.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah.
Again, I've always wondered. It's always baffled me, like why.
Justyn.
Yes. All ears.
If you look back at the photos from the crime scene, and you go look in her closet, there will be a set of tennis shoes with some plastic inserts. Those are to help you learn to walk.
Right.
My daughter had cerebral palsy, and she had to use those shoes whenever she was going through therapy and rehab to get her feet back.
I used to
help you with your gait.
Right. Now I used to have shoes that that inserts in them because my back, because I'm over 6 feet tall, so I have sometimes like tall people have like alignment issues with their back, and I remember when my back had because even my girlfriend at the time and all my friends, even my mother, was like, "You're walking a little bit to your right." You know what I mean? You seem to be leaning a little bit to your right, so I bought special shoes with special inserts that would help because it was an alignment issue. So I remember like after I walked in those, it would like help my alignment. So you know what I mean? Like again, like like Gypsy still. You see, here's the reason. Let me tell you something. Here's a reason why Gypsy has to absolutely run with the narrative that Mike Stanfield has given her. Because first of all, she'd be basically admitting to the public that. It was just a defense strategy, ha ha ha, and it worked, and it got me out of, it got me the sweetheart deal. But also, like, she loves the victimhood narrative so much. It's just like, you know what I mean? She would never, ever, like, admit that, what, there was no abuse, blah, blah, blah. Because first of all, most, if not all people know if there's shabuse going on, because her own book, she said it's either her or me. So she knew that, there was some shabuse going on. She said that's the whole reason that this whole thing happened in her book. She's like, oh, it's going to have another one of these abusive medical procedures done.
After that, she said she didn't know she was abused until a defense attorney told her.
Yeah, but in her book, she says, well, I was being abused, and that's the whole reason I had this thing done. So which is it, Gypsy?
Yep.
Did you not know or did you know? Again, I just put up a new.
And then Nick felt guilty after that.
I've been putting up the debunk series. I put up another one today. I have another couple more coming out in the next little while. I have like 15 more coming out that I've already grabbed all the footage for. So you know what I mean? Yeah.
I just want to say that, like, just to like compliment like you for a minute. Like, just honestly, I like being on your panel because you stay on the subject and you're inspiring me to get back to because I haven't been making Gypsy content because I lost interest because there's a lot of drama in this community and stuff. But you're staying to the case. You're staying to the case and you're inspiring me to get back to the point of why, because I came into this with passion and I'm still passionate, but I started getting burnt out I'll admit I started getting burnt out because there's just a lot of drama that
Right,
kind of
and most
discouraged
people
me.
know me. Most people know me that I don't get
Stay on
involved with any of
topic.
that. I don't respond to any of that. I don't like anyone else. It's like I see a lot of people making fun of the Gypverse. I see a lot of Gypverse AI stuff, and I'm not like what I mean. And because I stay out of it, there's not much people can say. I mean, unless they want to put my name in there just for being part of the Gypverse, but I never see my name. I'm glad. And even if I did, I wouldn't care. It's just like, okay, go for it. You think I give a crap what Morbid or any of those guys say about me? It's just like I don't care because at the same time they've lost traction. I think again, Morbid is jumping from back and forth, back and forth. And you know what?
Yeah, it's strange that.
There's a possible genius involved in this. If he's doing that just to get information, then great. But I don't think
Did you
that's the
see
case.
when he was asking Ken about why he was having to board Parker?
The more
Why is
that
he
I
boarding
think
Parker?
about it,
Yeah.
the more that I think about
Why?
it, Justin, I think that there's people that are being like paid to distract us, to get us off, to get us fighting with each other and stuff. Because hear me out, like this is just I don't know. Like there's a lot of people that are claiming to want justice and stuff, but they're not. They're not
No,
doing
right.
that. Like they're fighting all of the time with each other and stuff, and I feel like, or they're making up these wild ass like conspiracies that don't even make sense at all, and it's just like I feel like people are being paid or something to distract us from the cause.
You know what it is? I don't even think anyone needs to be paid. I just think if someone makes one video about a content creator, they're just going to lose traction, and then that's going to be it. I don't think there's any paying involved. I just think it's something that can be done just by enticing or eliciting a response out of the person that's going to respond to it. They could do that to me all they want, unless it's on topic. If it's got something to do with the case, then I'll gladly respond to it. But if it's just like, I don't like Justin's hat, or Justin this, Justin. I mean, I don't care. Go for it. What I mean. Again, it's like, and I'm
Have
glad.
you already
I'm glad.
looked
First
at
of all,
that Liam wrote for Dee Dee?
yeah, Liam Bassinet. I
that was
love what
really
he's
good.
doing.
No, I was just saying that this is
Morbid. He's 19 years old, and Morbid is like going after a teenager. I'm like, bro, like, what
No,
is
I
your
was
issue?
just saying that this is kind of like helping me, like this is kind of therapeutic being on your panel because you are talking about the case and you're kind of bringing my like want to do it again. You're bringing my motivation again to why I started this in the begin with because I've been losing interest. I'm not gonna lie, but not because of like not because I'm burnt out on the case. I'm just burnt out on all the drama.
Well, listen.
Yeah,
let me
you
start,
can
let me
only
start.
take
Let me
so
start with
much.
something. Let me start with something. Everybody that's watching, whoever's here, please go add her so you can encourage her to do content because I support you. I would like to see you do it, and I will help you if you need it.
Thank you, because I've got all of my content still. I just privated all of it because, like I said, a lot's just been going on with drama and creators and stuff that I think we've lost the plot.
Yeah, well, again, like I haven't all my, you know what I mean. Like all my content is still on topic with the case. I've been trying to cover some other stuff. You know what I mean. And plus, I'm on Facebook. I have 16,000 followers on there, but there's a problem. This is the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen in my life. Like, there's no. First of all, I'm not sure if you guys know this, but Meta, which runs both Facebook and Instagram, there's no humans that look over any appeals. There's no humans. It's everything AI run, basically. There's no customer service. There's no customer support. There's only an AI support. And basically, I put up a meme of a Christmas, some kind of sweater, and this little kid is wearing it over himself, and it's a shark fin, and it looks like he has a little thing up in the air, and I called it Sharknado. It was a funny meme. It was like a slapstick meme, and everyone thought it was funny. But someone actually reported that as child schmexploitation, and actually, Meta found that had merit to it. So they actually temporarily took me off of monetization and recommendation because of that meme that I posted 2 years ago.
Gotta love Meta.
So someone had to go through my content, and it was not even on my page. It was in a group I was posting it in, out of all things. So either someone looked in that and got triggered, or whatever the case is. But it's just a kid wearing a sweater that had a shark fin on it. That looked like a little thing that came up from his waistline area, and it was funny looking. And Sharknado was the meme behind it, and like everyone thought it was funny. Everyone thought that was really cute and funny, but someone actually reported it as child schmexploitation, and it actually went through it, and I appealed it, and it won't go away. It's just like
I know my
I got a
mom
violation
posted
yesterday for
something
reviewing it.
I actually have a strike on it that says child smexploitation because
Oh
of a joke,
wow.
because of a sweater. A sweater. Crazy. And you know, it's like I was like 10 people that posted that meme. I found it in another meme category, you know, and I just kind of reshared it. And it was like, what? Like, really? This is what they call child exploitation? I'm like, you know, this is a multi-billion-dollar company, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, and they can't
Right.
hire a small, like, you know, tech team that can go over the appeals and go and actually have a customer service. I mean, I understand it would be overwhelming with like people losing passwords and what have
Right.
you. But they could specialize it and be like, you know, especially when it comes to appeals or people losing their accounts, you
And
know,
that's the other thing. Are criminals not supposed to be allowed to be monetized on here?
Well, I was dude. It was great because when I was monetized, I started doing the true crime stuff exclusively. Like it was going up and up
Yeah,
and up. I
but like
started off with like
Gypsy was
$5.
monetized, but she is a convicted criminal.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm hoping Dom and Davy. If you guys have not signed the petition for Dom and Davion's law, that is Mackenzie Sharilla's boyfriend, ex or deceased boyfriend's Dominic. That it's his sister, Christine Russo. She's got a very she came up very quickly. She's got a podcast called The Big Sister Unhinged. She promotes it on there, but just look up Dom and Davion's law, and there's a petition on there. I signed it. My mother signed it. My girlfriend signed it. Everybody signed it.
My husband and I signed it. My mom signed it. Like
Yeah,
everyone I know has signed it.
I think it's one of the most like crucial change.org petitions I've ever seen because again, it's just the modern day version of the Son of Sam law. But I was under the false pretense that Son of Sam was like a federal thing. I didn't know it was like
I
state
did too.
basis. I'm like,
I did too until
I'm like, so Missouri, it doesn't have, and you want to know, I remember Christy bragging and being like, she was actually relishing in the fact that Son of Sam did not apply to her state. I was like,
yeah, because I mentioned something to
disgusting.
her, and then she's like, "Yeah, we don't have the Son of Sam law here, or something like that." And I was like, "What?"
Well, that's the
I
only
was
reason
very
they got back in
surprised.
their life, isn't it? Because of the money.
Oh, sure.
That was
It's
obvious.
all got to do with money. And again, like I don't think there would have been anything, and you know, regarding the Blanchards and Gypsy again, unless there were money involved.
And what defense attorney becomes your manager as well? That's just weird.
Don't you find
Yeah.
it awfully weird that like nobody is really, you can tell like nobody wants to associate with Gypsy, and that even in that in the family, even like
No.
they don't
Right.
want to be known, they don't want to associate with her, and you can
Especially
tell.
Especially Mia.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
look
That's
at the
probably
people that
for
do
the best.
associate with
And
Gypsy.
from the beginning, I believe Andre's family wanted nothing to do with it. Same with Dylan. Dylan as well.
Because something that I find very telling is like people that, you know, like Christy and them, they were very involved like last year and the year before. Like they were on TikTok a lot on panels and everything. But then this year you don't see them as much because they're starting to see it. They're starting to realize that Gypsy is the problem.
I don't know how they can walk around their town and like hold their head up.
Because look how good look how I mean from everything that I've seen and from all things considered, like I mean Dylan and Mia have been, you know, brought up pretty well. And then, you know, Gypsy comes back, Gypsy gets out of prison and suddenly that family's in all sorts of trouble. You know, and you know, Rod Blanchard has already shown a theme that he just cannot, you know, not cheat. This man loves to cheat for whatever reason.
Right.
You know, and it has been admitted even by Christy herself that because of the show and because of the notoriety of the show, women on social media were contacting him and he would disappear off with them. And you know, and Christy would leave the house like 3 weeks at a time. And then her and Gypsy would come to blows over this because it's her show that's basically caused all the problems like within the family. And just, you know, it's like as soon as Gypsy comes around, it's like anything that happens within the family is basically like, it turns toxic as soon as she's around.
Think that they want anything to do with her because she's probably showed her ass freaking around them.
And like again, it's just like how many times is she gonna rebrand herself? Like she's done this 100 million times. Like, do you remember when she started that podcast maybe a month or two ago? And she's like, "Oh, I got like a 4-part series coming out." She did one, and it's just like, and she had an overwhelming like negative reaction, you know, from just about everywhere.
I think it's funny. Go ahead. I lost my train of thought.
No, it's okay, but it's just like, you should, if you were really like, supporting your convictions, you wouldn't really care what the comment section says. And, again, she's alluded to the fact that like, oh, I don't care what the haters think. I don't care what this, I mean, and she's even tried to disable comments that even she don't
Oh,
stand
I
that.
Teenager
remember
mentality.
she went live like a month ago or so. And she was live with like her friends and stuff, and she literally said that she does not like being on TikTok anymore because she's tired of seeing all of the stuff about her. And basically, translation, I don't want to see the truth about me because I'm a narcissist, so I'm getting pissed off about it and I don't want to be on TikTok anymore.
But she's
Yeah,
on
until
here still under false accounts.
do you know how many times that she's said stuff like, I've deleted my 9 point something million accounts. Like I went and deleted. No, you
No,
disabled it, and
deactivated, yeah.
you have 90 days to re put it up, and then she always reinstates it right before that 90-day period. Or you know what? There's times where she's done it in like a few days because again she can't stay away from social media. But one thing I think she's still demonetized as far as content goes, but I know on her live streams she's not. But one of the most embarrassing things about like her chutzpah is when she did, like I said, that live with Rocky, where she doesn't, when those battles are, going on, you're supposed to engage with your audience. You're supposed to like give them a reason to have you win that battle. And she thought she was so loved and so popular that she just puts a picture of herself on there
I
and
think
plays some
that the
stupid
reason
music.
why she did that is because she is just so tired of being held accountable that she's tired of fucking being held accountable. So she had her camera off and everything because she doesn't want to hear it. She doesn't want to hear people, tell her about herself. So she
Well,
avoids it at all costs.
Well, no,
She wants the
no,
money.
she
She wants
claims
the
no.
money.
She claims that it was she had some migraine headache. But do you remember when she
It's
kind of
on the
like
sore
dipped
throat,
in and out of the
remember?
camera? She
At one
dipped
point, it's
in and
sore
out of the
throat.
camera for like 1 second. Her camera was turned on. She just had a green screen on, but she did dip her head in and out, and she did look pretty rough. And again, it's like she looks rough considering that she does a whole lot of nothing with her day. She's not
She
apparently not
probably
taking
had
care
a
of the kid because
hangover.
how's she gonna take care of a kid if she's not even taking care of the dog?
Right.
Yeah, I don't
So
think the kid's with her.
I don't think so either. I think
I think
hopefully with
that
maybe
Probably
one of
for the
Ken's relatives,
best.
maybe Ken's parents, may even as much as I don't like Christy, I don't think Christy's a bad like mother or grandmother to Aurora. Again, I
Right.
just hope that as Aurora progresses and gets older, she ends up with hopefully Ken is done with Gypsy by then and he's out of her spell or whatever the heck is going on between him and her, and he can actually be like, you know what,
well,
we
in
I
my
think he likes the limelight
opinion,
too much.
I'm worried about Aurora because I think that her family is going to treat her some type of way because it is Gypsy's daughter. Like Christy, you can tell that Christy doesn't like Gypsy for multiple reasons, but for
Yeah,
one,
but that's
I don't think that she's ever liked Gypsy, even when Gypsy
no.
was a kid. I
No,
right,
think
but
but
that
when
she,
that
this was involved, when money was involved, she loved her perfectly fine.
Well, yeah, because
yeah,
it was
but
like,
she's
oh,
not
I'll be
going to
your
take it out
mom.
on a
And Gypsy was calling
baby.
her mom all the time, and now
don't
she
think
calls her
that she would
Christy.
take it out on a baby. Some
No,
people do
No,
that.
because
Some people
you
do
could
no, I
tell
that.
don't think so.
you could tell she loves that kid.
She does, and
Like
plus, like I
when she
said,
would rock her in the videos and stuff.
Mia and Dylan have good heads on their shoulders. So obviously, Christy's not incapable of being a good mom. I just think with Gypsy around, like Christy, she just brings out the worst. Like Gypsy brings out the worst in everybody. So it's like I think Christy is at her worst when she's around Gypsy, and at this point, I'm hoping that preservation of the baby is like the number one. Is on the number one of their lists as far as like their priority list rather than because whatever Gypsy has going right now as far as money wise it's probably very slim to nothing. Christy and the rest of them are not seeing another dollar, especially since TLC left because they had special contracts with them where they got paid separately rather than having to beg off Gypsy because Gypsy's not going to give them a dime no matter what. So, and like I said, Gypsy's already said, even though she's announcing this little excursion with her cosmetology, it's just like she's already said it so many times that she never, ever plans on getting a real job, ever.
She's full of freaking shit. She ain't getting no cosmetology. I don't buy
I don't
that
think
shit for
so.
1 second.
Because it requires effort, and that's the part that's going to bother her. She could barely take care of a dog and a baby. How's she going to, like,
It's not that. I just don't believe that she is successful enough to become a cosmetologist.
Well, it's
No,
just
and
registered
besides, like,
ED, so
like
she's not going to be
the
able to
people in
do it.
cosmetology that I know are the most successful or make the most money are the ones that have like an MD license. They can do like Botox injections and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
And she's not gonna have an MD or like an NP, like a nurse practitioner license next to her name.
She's
And I
never
think
gonna.
she would only do it to only benefit herself, to help herself look better. Even that's not going to help, but
There's
to
all
attempt
the
to look
cosmetic
better.
injections.
She's never gonna get anywhere in life with that entitlement that she has, okay? Like, she has never had to have a day of freaking what's the word for it, responsibility in her life, okay?
Right.
So like, as long as she's entitled, she's never gonna get anywhere because she's always gonna be defensive and fight with everybody all the time, and you know that plays a
She's
huge
too
part.
used to just being given everything, isn't she? She's never had to work for anything.
No.
It's just
No.
been
Yeah,
given to her.
she's never worked in her life.
Oh, look, her mom tried to kick her out and tried to get her to go live and be an adult, but Gypsy didn't want that. Gypsy was too lazy. She wanted everything handed to her, so she
And you know what?
retaliated.
Will
Even when
never
it comes to
actually
that battle,
really struggled.
and even when it comes to that battle that she did, I think that was just pure laziness. I think she's just like, well, like I'm tired and I don't want to do anything. I'm just going to put a background up and that's going to be it. Even though it takes 5 to 6 minutes to be on a battle and interact with your crowd or with your audience or whatever, it's like she couldn't even do that. It's just like that to me says like, and again, like I dated somebody in my past. I had the bare minimum cosmetology licensing. Barely, she like I said, she could barely. I think the only thing she could do was like facials, something really small. And then you know what I mean. And most of the time, her income was like mostly reliant on tips. And it was like an hour there, hour back, you know, drive. So it was already taking a toll on her car that was already dying. And again, it's just like everybody else in where she was working was successful because they had some kind of medical training attached to it. She had none. So she, like I said, I think when she did her taxes at the end of the year, she brought home about $16,000 that year, which is
Yeah,
nothing.
you have to work hard because it's what
That's
I used to
nothing.
do.
She didn't even
We
average
work
like
constantly.
12, $13 an hour. It's embarrassing. Like after
And
you
like
know,
she does have problems with her back and things, and she won't be able to cope with sitting in a chair doing things and standing
Right.
and bending. It causes
Right.
havoc with your body.
Yeah, it does.
oh no, I know that because like my ex girlfriend has carpal tunnel horribly from having to perform that job, and I remember her like looking at her hands and fingers, and they look like old lady hands and fingers, even though the girl was in her 30s. I was just like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
well,
that shit sucks.
yeah, it's not easy to do. It's especially when you do the whole facial thing, like you're using like a lot of muscle and a lot of pressure in your hands
Yeah,
and
we know
And
Gypsy
you
is
have to have
affected by
patience
her
with like,
deletion,
yeah,
even though she
yeah,
says she isn't.
it's a physical job. It's a very physical type of job, and I don't think she understands what she's getting herself into. The idea sounds nice, but the execution of it is going to be one gigantic. She's going to come up with some excuse. Oh, I need more time for my child. My child's going through this and that. I can't do cosmetology. She's going to come up with some excuse as to why she can't do it, and then that's the end of it. But at this time, like you know what I mean, like the cases I'm really focusing on, like at the moment, besides Gypsy's always going to be number one, but Mackenzie Sharilla's case, and also the Ohio 16 children case.
Oh yeah.
That is something that has got me go down a rabbit hole. And
Okay, now I don't know anything about that case yet, the Ohio 16. I think I've heard about it once on this app.
This woman, she's been pregnant, I think, since either 13 or I think 15, and she's had 16 children. She has got 3 sets of twins, and she even had a miscarriage with conjoined twins at one point.
oh my god.
Crazy. And this girl, I mean, like again, it's going to be I don't know, I have to get more information, but it sounds like she could have been, sounds like a grooming situation possibly, because
I know
but then again, I'm hearing
Becca's
different
covering
stories.
the Siders
Imagine
case
being
as well, isn't
imagine
she?
being imagine from the start of age 15, you're pregnant pretty much all day every day for years, and she's behind bars right now, pregnant now. So it's just like basically she is like, you've heard of like puppy mill situations. This is like a human mill situation. It's crazy.
Now, with the Mackenzie Shrilla case, I absolutely believe that the parents should be held accountable as well because they created that monster.
Yeah,
They
did. I
created
mean,
that
but they
monster.
weren't dry. I mean,
She should be held accountable, but the parents should as well. They should be
I don't
locked
know
up
how
right
though.
along with
Like
her.
legal, I mean, morally they should be, but I'm not sure if legally they can be. I mean,
I
like, I
know,
mean,
that's what I'm saying. We need
In
laws.
the
Ohio,
biggest
the
joke.
parents used to be held
Okay,
accountable.
really quickly, the
We need
biggest
better
joke.
laws because that's why these kids, that's why people like Gypsy are turning out the way that they're turning out because they're
Right.
getting spoiled and they're not having no accountability and it's creating these monsters. And I'm
Right.
not blaming the parents fully because at a certain age, you know right from wrong
Right.
and you have the
But
choice. I'm just
Mackenzie,
simply saying
for whatever
need to be
reason,
laws.
Mackenzie seems to be the one that seemed to be running that household. And Mackenzie's got a sister named Danielle. We have not heard anything about her. We have not heard from her. And one thing that I've heard from the jail phone calls between her and they're coming out every day, by the way, the jail phone calls between Natalie.
Yeah.
And what's great is in some of those jail phone, this is the part that baffles me, is like, okay, in the beginning of those phone calls, Natalie, the mom, will be like, Mackenzie, be careful what you say. These are being recorded. And even them both acknowledging that, they still run off at the mouth at stuff they shouldn't be saying.
They can't help
They
themselves.
just cannot help them. They just cannot help themselves. They have to, like, for whatever reason, they have no like control over their impulsivities, and they end up like incriminating themselves over
They
the phone
think
anyway.
they're untouchable. That's what it is.
Here's the one thing that really revealed Natalie to me. A couple different things. First of all, she gets on the witness stand, and she's claiming that Mackenzie's had POTS her entire life or something like that, or has had POTS for a certain amount of years, but she can't tell you who the doctor is. She can't tell you what hospital she went to. She can't tell you. This is just self-diagnosed by mommy.
That mother pisses me off because, like I said, we need laws that hold parents accountable for shit like that.
Here's the main thing. Here's the best question. Hold on. Let me finish, because this is like one of the best. Let me just get my thoughts out, and then you guys can talk. But really, here's the two things that really got me, that revealed Natalie to me, is the fact that she goes up there and admits, like, yep, Mackenzie's had this whole POTS thing the whole time. First of all, POTS does not make you have all your muscles fire on all cylinders and you slam that gas pedal down to the floor. And from what I understand of POTS is like you feel like you're gonna faint when you stand up,
Yeah.
and you relax, like your body relaxes. You don't go into some
go limp.
like First of all, she was she navigated that winding road perfectly fine. If you're passed out or whatever the case is,
your foot would be off.
You're not going to be able to do that.
From the outside looking in, I just think. My bad.
No, it's okay. I just want to finish these two thoughts. So basically, she goes up on the witness stand and says, like, yeah, she's had POTS this whole time. Like, so you knowing that, you let your daughter go to the DMV without any testing done and let her go get a driver's license anyway, knowing that those kind of symptoms, if they act up, could cause an accident. And then, basically she just, downplayed the entire thing, even though she's trying to use it as the full excuse. And then on top of that, when she's in, when she's doing the impact statement or trying to ask for leniency, it's like she doesn't talk anything about the victims, and she even again, I love how the judge called her out on certain things, like, you know what I mean, like when Natalie was saying something like, "Oh, Davion was a new friend," the judge is like, "So does that mean his life is worth less or something like that?" I love how the judge really went in on her, but it's just like the whole time she was basically trying to retry the case, like right there, like it's like, listen. Your daughter's already been convicted. She's convicted. There's no retrying the case. Like, she's trying to come up with all these excuses, like, oh, the Halloween party where she dressed up as a corpse. I told her to go out and do that. It's like the most ridiculous stuff I've ever heard, and it just shows that she had no respect for like the magnitude. Plus, like, if you hear her and Mackenzie cackling over the phone about, wow, the story went international, instead of understanding the gravity of the fact that she's in there for double schmurder is part of it. They're celebrating it like she got a modeling contract or something. I'm like, did you forget the part where you unalived two people? Apparently they both forgot about that because they were
it's infamy, isn't it?
they were sitting there like relishing in the fact that Kim Kardashian might reach out. Kim, by the way, said she would have nothing to ever do with that case. She's just like, she is guilty as sin. And it sucks that it's weird that she has got all these supporters when it's like, oh, it had to be a malfunction in the car. Do you know how many tests they did on that car? How many tests they did on Mackenzie themselves before they came to their conclusion? They didn't just arrest her overnight. They did months and months and months and months.
Wait a second. I didn't know that people supported her because
she's got a support system, and they're very delusional. Very delusional.
What the fuck?
But you want to know what she's got? Okay, here's one thing: a parole board. Because again, she's got 15 to life, which means in 15 years she's going to be sitting in front of a parole board. It's been what, 3 years? She's got almost 40 prison infractions, and some are serious. I'm talking like contraband. I'm talking like she's not only just contraband, but she's also trafficking contraband. She's also been caught doing schmexual stuff. And I'm not sure if anyone knows about this, but even when she was a free woman, when she a girl, even when she was out and about before the crash took place, she was in schmex work. She was on Backpage. She was on Craigslist, and like I'm talking, she was going to seedy motels with dirty old men.
Who?
Mackenzie Shirilla.
See, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, you can tell that she was running the show. The mom was being her best friend, and this daughter was running the fucking show. Like, she was calling the shots. Like that. I'm sorry.
She was living with the boyfriend, wasn't she? She wasn't at home. She was still
I saw her advertisement.
No rules, no boundaries.
Now I saw the advertisement where it said about the schmex work, and she's got the top dollar price of $2,400. Can do anything you want to me. I'm like, that's disgusting.
It's neglect. It's a safety issue. That daughter, I keep forgetting the mother's name because I only know the basics about the case. Her name's Natalie. Okay. I get Natalie and Mackenzie mixed up. But Natalie, like, she failed her daughter because as a parent, you're supposed to make sure your child is safe and healthy and happy. And she just failed her daughter because she just let her daughter just do whatever. There was no awareness. None. She was not teaching her daughter any awareness or
and neither was the dad. Neither was Steve. Her father was the same way.
There was no rules, no rules, no boundaries, no nothing.
I want to know where Danielle sits in all this, because we have not heard anything from Danielle. We have not heard anything about her except for negative stuff over the jail phone calls. It's like, I wonder what Natalie, not Natalie, but Danielle thinks about all this. I think she might be sort of like Dylan when it comes to the Gypsy case. Just stays out of the circus, wants nothing to do with it. Might be the only one in the family with a head.
Is she younger or older than Mackenzie?
Older. She's the older sister. But I think Kenzie is somebody that Natalie was living vicariously through. I think whatever Mackenzie got into, it's like Natalie wanted to be in the thick of it because maybe Natalie wanted aging and she wanted to feel young again, so she got in the thick of whatever Mackenzie was doing. That's just my speculation.
Right. I was friends with this one girl that her mom was pretty much like that, and her mom was like my mom's age. So it was like the woman would try and act like she was as young as us and stuff, and like try to party with us. It was weird. It was real weird.
Yep, I can imagine.
Justice system needs to make an example out of Natalie. That's what they need to do. They need to make an example out of her because that's neglect. That is like severe neglect, in my opinion.
But it's going to be a slippery slope on what exactly to charge her with, because she wasn't driving the car. She had never given indication
of it. She
enabled her neglect because she was living with her boyfriend.
Well, I'm just right, but like, on top of that, it's like you can't go to jail for being a bad parent.
It could be emotional and mental neglect when you do not guide your child and you just let them run the show.
Well, unless she was emancipated. That's basically saying you're going to go to jail for being a bad parent. Unfortunately, you can't go to jail for
going to prison forever, but there's got to be some kind of action.
She could have been emancipated.
Listen, the court of public opinion basically despises her, so she has consequences. They're just not legal ones. She's got public ones.
Yeah, she has social.
And believe me, she's been widely condemned by the public. I'm talking internationally. So I think that's punishment. That
does give me hope that at least she's being held accountable in the court of public opinion.
Yes, that's going to have a bigger effect on her because
faith. That gives me faith in society because I just firmly believe that it's neglect. I had sisters that turned out really bad because they were spoiled their whole life. I was like the stepdaughter that got treated differently, that got beat and stuff. But my sisters, they got spoiled and got whatever they wanted, and they became bad people in life. And so I know from experience that you can't be your child's best friend. It's neglect.
Right. Yeah, see, with Mackenzie's mom, like I said, I think whether you want to think she should be legally held accountable, which I don't see how she can be, I think the court of public opinion hating her is going to be a much bigger, punishment to her. And same with Steve as well. Steve does not get any exoneration out of it. He's just as bad as his wife. He's just as bad. He's just, what kind of a guy goes on a documentary and wears a boom shirt on the documentary? It's like,
yeah,
this
that's
guy have
not,
no
not
self-awareness.
good luck.
It's like that. Yeah, not a good. Did he not think about what he was doing before? It's like, two people were unalive from a really horrific car crash, and you wear a boom with an explosion on it. It's like not a good look. So yeah, it's
Of course, that whole Netflix documentary was not a good look for them at all.
No,
Just the way they talk.
This is like after the Gypsy Rose thing, isn't it? Though it's like, oh, let's do this and let's make money off it.
Yeah,
they're trying to famous.
There's some. I'm sure there's people that I'm sure there's some. I'm sure Mackenzie, just has some scrubby men writing to her in some way, shape, or form. And I'm sure Chris Watts has women writing to him. Let that sink in. And then also, guess who else? Taylor Parker has men writing to her. Taylor Parker. If you guys know who she is, Maternal Instinct documentary.
Yes.
Oh my God!
Okay.
She got the D penalty, and for good reason. If you go into the FOIAs of that case, proceed with caution. It's some of the most disgusting stuff I've ever read in my life. I mean, I'm talking like she had pornography on her phone that I can't even repeat what it is. It's not children. It's something else.
Right.
I'm not going to even give you a hint of what it is because it's so disturbing. But it's also. But the main thing that got her
the poor woman whose baby she took, and how she took it.
Here's my theory on the baby that she took. My theory is I don't think she was trying to have the baby be alive. I think she just wanted to have a baby exist, and I lost a baby, but at least there was a baby, so that way she could tell her family a baby did come out of her. And but we lost it, boo hoo hoo. You know what I mean? And then same facade for Wade, because that was another. She draws a lot of parallels to Lisa Montgomery. I'm not sure if anyone knows who that is. She got executed in 2020 in federal prison because she crossed state lines to commit her crime. She was arrested and she committed her crime in 2004, where she got remarried and she already had 4 kids of her own, but she had it with her ex-husband, and she wanted to prove to the ex-husband that she could still have children with the new husband, even though she, just like Taylor Parker, had a hysterectomy. There's no possible way you can ever have a baby. So, but still, you know what I mean? And her new husband, Kevin Montgomery, was not exactly the smartest tool in the shed. So it's you know what I mean? He didn't really quite get what was going on. So it's just one of those things where, she under email, because it's 2004, is maybe MySpace was just coming around, but not much else. She was in a rat terrier community very loosely with this woman, with her victim, which is Bobby Joe Stinnett. And she went over to Bobby Joe's house under the pretense of purchasing a rat terrier. And she knew she was 8.5 months preggo, and she brought everything. She brought a birthing kit with her. She brought a scalpel. Same kind of crime. And except this one, she managed to get the baby out, and the baby survived. The baby's alive to today. But you know what? She actually got the baby out. And but the crime scene was so horrific. One of the investigators ended up taking his own life the next year. It was so bad; it haunted him so horribly, and they demolished the house. And it left such a big stain on that community that they just horrific. But anyways, what happened was Lisa managed to get the baby out, got the baby back to her house, and she went to church the next morning with the child, with the baby. And when the police came later that day, because they traced IP addresses, it wasn't that hard to do. And when they came over there to recover the baby, they looked at Lisa's fingernails, and she still had still blood underneath her cuticles from when she committed the unaliving. She didn't even have the decency to wash her own fingers after she, stole a baby. Again, it's you can look it up. It's fetal abduction, and there's only been maybe I think a total of 30 to 32 cases of that since 1987, 83. But it's very rare. It's an extremely rare case. And one thing, if you watch the Maternal Instinct documentary, one thing that I believe it's Reagan Hancock's sister. She's I'm afraid to hire a photographer because that's the only way Reagan really knew Taylor was a photographer. That's all Taylor ever was, other than an acquaintance. So can you imagine this acquaintance that you hire as a photographer, is the person that, came and was basically the one to end your life. And with both cases, both Lisa Montgomery
and with Taylor Parker, the mothers found the bodies for both cases. And with Taylor's, she'd commit the crime while Reagan's 3-year-old was in the next room. And the 3-year-old was, when they found the 3-year-old in there, like, she had to step over her mother's body and everything. And here's how horrific that was. Reagan fought back so hard and was so, like, she survived all the wounds. I'm talking mason jars to the back of the head, over 100 lacerations inside of her stomach. She had scalpel marks all over her face. She had her ear to ear. She had it jabbed inside of her neck, and they wrestled over the uterus. Her snap-on fingernails, Reagan's snap-on fingernails, were found inside of her own uterus, trying to play tug of war with her own uterus.
Oh,
that is some of the most wild stuff I've ever. I mean, yeah, that's why they call it maternal instinct. How much pain this woman had to be in, and she, with her stomach fully cut open, and she was still able to fight back in some capacity. Right. That is one of the most cute. Like, I mean, she fought with everything she had. And then when they found her, even though she had her throat like this, and with it jabbed in her neck, she was still able to get up and try to chase Reagan out of the house, but she collapsed on the kitchen floor before she was able to get to the door. So that's how long and how brutal that fight was. It wasn't just like she hit her over the head and did it. No, I mean, there was over like 100+ wounds to the face, to other parts of her body, and then and then get this, Taylor Parker Googled how to do a C-section like less than an hour before she went over to Reagan. So she literally like botched this. Yeah, less than an hour. Wow. And then when she was caught by the police on the highway, when she got caught on the highway, she ended up. It was not even like 30 minutes after she committed the homicide. So it's crazy. Like, imagine being the officer that thinks this is a traffic stop, and you see a woman with a placenta shoved down her pants and a baby in her left hand. It's like, that had to be like one of the most, I probably wasn't on that officer's bingo card that year to see something like that.
Right. Yeah.
So again, it's probably going to be another one of those cases where you hear like one of the investigators has to either quits his job. Hopefully, it doesn't end up like the one investigator.
She thought she was going to get away with something like that, though, because
that's what I was wondering. It's like, how did she think this was going to play out? Did they think they weren't going to connect the two events? I mean, first of all, Taylor had 2 kids of her own. She knows what the process is like going through a pregnancy. They know that they can check if a woman's been pregnant because all the secretions and nutrients that goes to a baby stays within a woman's, system up to 6 weeks after birth. Also, the fact that if you gave birth without any epidural, you could look at the, reproductive organ and see if something came out. It took about 2 seconds for an OBG to look at that and be like, nope, no baby came out of there. And on top of that,
it's a blood test as well, though. There was no pregnancy hormones.
Plus, they pulled Taylor's records and see, hysterectomy. And here's the crazy part. Here's the part that baffles me the most. Her mother and family knew, her ex-husbands, everybody even tried to warn Wade that she had a hysterectomy. Don't believe this, but she decided to despite all that, Taylor decided to have a gender reveal party while wearing a fake belly that she ordered off Amazon, by the way. And her mother attended this, knowing that she had a hysterectomy and this was all fake. She attended it like it was all real. Her mother. I'm like, that's insane. I'm like, this is like, I mean, I've heard of enabling before, but like, I'm like, imagine enabling your daughter so much that she's putting on a fake pregnancy in front of a whole bunch of people, a whole different family, her boyfriend's family, and just coming there and acting like, this is all real. This is all, honky dory.
Right.
That's insane.
What did she have on the mother to get away with that? She must have had something on her mouth.
And with her boyfriend, Wade Griffin or whatever, which again, he doesn't look like the smartest, bulb in the socket as well. He was warned by one of the ex-husbands, one of Taylor's, like, she had a hysterectomy, bro. Like, dude, there is absolutely no way she could ever have a baby again. And still, like, you know what I mean? He's just like, oh, you're just a bunch of haters. You guys just think we're just faking this whole thing. It's just like, yes. It's crazy that, if I was Wade, I'd be like, all right, well, if this is not true, I got a whole bunch of people warning me about this. I'm going to come with you to your next doctor's appointment, and we're going to see if you're actually pregnant. You're going to take that test right in front of me. We're going to go straight to that doctor's. And she called in a bomb threat to the hospital to try to get out of going to the hospital to have the baby.
Wow. Oh, wow.
She called in a bomb threat because she's like, oh, I'm going to go have the baby now. She called in a bomb threat to the hospital so that way she can get out. It's like, oh, I can't go in and have the baby because, there's this bomb threat that happened there. Yeah, Taylor herself called it in. Isn't that crazy? I mean, and then people are like, oh, wow. Because usually females, no matter where, usually don't get, especially young ones, she was only in her 20s at the time, get the D penalty, very easily. You have to do something heinous enough and calculated enough and premeditated enough with all kinds of layers on. And this is not the first time she did stuff like this. She faked prior pregnancies with other men. I mean, this is how desperate she was to keep around this country bumpkin, like rocks for brains boyfriend. I'm like, nothing against the guy, but it's just like at this end of the day, it's just like, really, bro? Like you did not sense anything wrong at all, at all.
Yeah.
Right.
Even with people warning him, even including his own family, Taylor's family and ex-husband, everything. It's just like, even if you didn't want to believe it, you could be like, you know what, I'm going to take your word for it, but we're still going to go to that doctor's appointment and see what's going on. We're going to go get an ultrasound done. We're going to go get this done. I want to see from my own eyes that everything's truthful. But it's like, as soon as he would try to go into something like that, you don't believe me. Oh, but it's like she would fly off the handle. It's like, well, I would kick her out until it's like, okay, guess what? You're leaving my house until we're going to the hospital together, and I could see this baby for myself. Because again, and then it basically came down to she was backed into a corner. She's just like, it's her due date, and she's like, I'm going to prove to everybody that I could still have a baby. Same thing Lisa Montgomery did to try to prove it to her ex-husband. Her due date was coming up, and she got desperate. So what do? It's like, and get this, Taylor's name was already among all the surrounding hospitals in Texas that she might go to the maternity wards and try to steal a baby. So they were already on high. Why do you think she tried driving to Oklahoma to Idabel? Because she knew she was like blackballed in all of the hospitals that surrounded the Texas area. If this woman comes in here or gets checked in here, keep an eye on her because she might go up and steal a baby because she's faking these pregnancies or whatever. And again, it's like you can only do so much when you have HIPAA laws that protect your medical records. So again, Taylor was really, I'm telling you, that case was such a rabbit hole. And I looked into this like in 2020 when she first got arrested, and her trial was going on a couple years later. The only reason people are revisiting it now is because of the Maternal Instinct documentary. I'm just like, I knew about this when I saw the arrest and the case happen, when it was going on, because it was shocking. I was like, even though I've seen fetal abduction cases like Lisa Montgomery, and there was even some attempted ones. There's that girl, something
Well, this is the
Dynel.
thing, isn't it? It's
Dynel
all
Lane.
copycat cases. And these is why there should be laws to stop things being where people make money out of these things, because
Yeah, well,
someone
it's supposed
in
to be. I
time will
don't,
copy
again, I
again.
was so wrong. I thought Son of Sam law applied. I thought that was federal. I thought there was. I know there were states where you could still do stuff like this. It'd be common sense that a criminal should not be able to make money off their crime. Why should that be okay anywhere? Why should that not apply everywhere? That blows me away. Why should there be exceptions in any state or area or county, whatever? That should be federal. But again, that's what Dom and Damien's law is trying to
But it
achieve.
should stop the family from making money as well.
Right. Yet no one should be making any money unless they're like a true crime channel, or unless they're they're covering cases. They're not related to the family in any way, and but unless you're like the victim's family, like what Christina Russo's doing. I love what she's doing. She's bringing an awareness to her brother's case, and also the heinousness of not only Mackenzie Sharilla but her mother, and the stuff that they're continuing doing, especially because if you look up those jail phone, one of my favorite YouTube channels right now is called Phone Calls from Jail. Look those up because it shows not only Mackenzie and all that, but also shows phone calls really compelling ones from different cases. And this person that runs that YouTube channel pays for those FOIAs to get those jail call records, and they do whoever runs that does a fantastic job.
Well, Marilyn Francis said about the toxic love story on Netflix. Yeah, I've just watched that too.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But yeah, Phone Calls from Jail is one of my favorites to and I love listening to some of the body language experts. A lot of the other attorneys talk about these types of cases. You get to hear some of the PhDs and stuff.
You see the one that has changed his mind about Gypsy.
There's been a lot of people that changed their minds about Gypsy, and I've seen a lot of body language experts really go into her interrogation. Because to me,
the interrogation is everything when it comes to Gypsy, especially the fact that she never said one thing about abuse. She never said one thing about Nicholas being this dark figure up until it was time to throw him under the bus. It's just like, I think you have the most truth out of her at that point, because she didn't know what she had to lie about just yet. She was fully banking on the fact that she was going to not, because she's just like, well, I didn't wield the weapon, so it's not going to fall on me. It's like, yeah, I think she should have researched the part of it where it's like, you're going to get the exact same charges as Nick. You're not going to get accessory. No, you're not going to get facilitation. You're getting the same murder charges that he is. I guess she forgot to read that part because she did her research and that's been proven. So yeah, so
Even
it's just,
the detective
to me,
thinks that she had a hand in the unaliving.
yeah, and also like she reveals that she's been eating, and also the stuff like everything she says now, it's like, oh, it's the first time I've ever done this, first time I've ever gone to the beach, first time I've ever done that. Even though there's pictures, there's her, telling the investigators places she's gone, the food that she's eaten, her mom being the greatest cook in the world, and all this other stuff. But she said she never got to eat real food until she went to prison, even though we see pictures.
Narcissist for you. You can put the truth right in front of a narcissist and they'll still lie.
Well, like that's why I've been posting those videos about Gypsy debunking herself with her own words. It's like, it's not me talk. It's not my commentary. It's Gypsy's own words. It's like, how are you going to argue with this? Argue with Gypsy then, because it's her words in it. I will say a thing in it other than I introduce the video. Otherwise, it's all Gypsy's own words. It's just like, so I guess you're going to have to take it up with Gypsy's many personalities because she's the one that's saying it.
Yep.
Oh boy. And it's crazy. There's some people in there trying to argue like through this or whatever. And it's just like, and again, anything that they say is just self-reported by Gypsy. It's just like anything they say is just like, well, because Gypsy said so. There's no other proof of anything. What Gypsy said, it's just like, listen, I had the same problem when I was like, I had the same encounters when I was like, covering the Jodi Arias case when I actually worked on a true crime show. It's like, well, Jodi said. I'm like, yeah, she's on like story number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But yeah, let's go with what Jodi said. She, I think, has the record. She was on the witness stand for 18 days. Isn't that crazy? I used to fall asleep and listening in the car to Juan Martinez cross-examining Jodi Arias, and it's some of the most phenomenal stuff I've ever listened to. It is explosive, and on top of that, I think a lot of that should be in law books about how to really pigeonhole a defendant that's telling multiple stories on the witness stand and is getting she contradicts herself in every which way. And again, and plus also a defendant being on the state, like, first of all, a murder defendant facing the D penalty, getting on the witness stand is very rare in and of itself. But to be up there for almost like 2.5, 3 weeks, that's crazy. Yeah. So yeah, just once again, like that's another case that had me captivated, not because of the the schmexual elements and the whole Mormonism aspect. There's a lot of angles and a lot of layers to that case, but it's mostly the interrogations of Jodi, where she changes the story 2 or 3 times. And also, by the way, who became a good friend of mine personally over the last several years is Kirk Nurmi, Jodi's lawyer. He lives in the same state that I do. He's a really good friend of mine. We connected on Facebook a while ago. He's not a lawyer anymore. Jodi actually chased him pretty much out of, being out of the law altogether. And he does like life coaching. He actually does stand-up comedy. That's really good too. He lost a ton of weight. He's not the shorts, obese attorney anymore. He's in phenomenal shape now. He turned his whole life around. He had cancer at one point. And he thinks all the stress from those trials, both of, because Jodi had 2 trials. She had her guilt phase, and then you have a separate trial for the punishment phase. But there was a deadlock during that for the D penalty, so they did a retrial of just the penalty phase in 2015, and I believe it was 2015 or it was 2018. I think it was 2018 that happened. And again, she dodged the D penalty by one vote. So it started out as 7-5, and then, it was 8-4. I'm sorry, for the first one, and then for the penalty retrial, 11-1. So one juror voted against it, and at that point, the judge did not declare another mistrial. The judge stepped in and said, "Life in prison, off you go." She was going to be going away forever, regardless. Right. So at that point, it was not worth the tax. They spent millions of dollars on this trial and this whatever. And it's just,
again, it's like it was another sensational case because that camera that she threw into the dishwasher or the washer and dryer, she thought that was going to get rid of the photos on there, but they were actually able to recover them. And it shows that Travis was alive in the shower, looking right at the camera, uninjured. And then it goes from that, and 62 seconds later, she accidentally steps on the camera, and it shows her dragging his bloody body across the floor. So it shows that basically she made the full attack on him. Here's what I believe happened, and I am 99.9% sure this is what happened, even though the prosecution had a slightly different narrative. I think she stole her grandfather's pew pew. It was a 25 auto, it hasn't been used in years. What I think happened was she thought she was gonna, get him sit down, and she was taking pictures of him, pull that pew pew out and shoot him in the head with it, which she did, but it did not put him down. He ended up getting up, and you can see his handprints with bloody handprints on his sink. You can see he tried to get himself up and look in the mirror to see what kind of damage was done to him. At this time, I think Jody ran downstairs, and she couldn't leave him alive at this point to snitch against her for this, and plus she wanted him gone, for reasons that we don't quite understand, but I'm pretty sure there's more than one. And I think that's when she grabbed the knife and just kind of she just kind of improvised from there. She's like, oh crap, the pew pew didn't take him out, I better go get something else to finish him off. And then she went and grabbed one of the kitchen knives. And you want to know what? She can sit there and say like, oh, it was already up there. The knife was already up there because Travis kept kitchen knives in his room for some reason. It was ridiculous, like how she tried to justify the knife being up there. But then she also had amnesia at the most convenient times. So I don't know. I don't remember. Foggy memory. I remember Juan Martinez.
The convenient amnesia.
Yeah, it was another sensational trial of just and also the fact that Jody, to the general public, was a pretty attractive girl. If you look at it that way, I never thought so, but other people did, and they were bamboozled by that. But Gypsy didn't really have that going for her. People didn't really look at Gypsy, who, in my opinion, looks like she can resemble a 9-year-old and sounds like one. Unless you have some deep perversion in you, it's I don't see how she could bamboozle you with her supposed.
The attack on her mum was frenzied. There was 14 separate wounds.
Yeah,
Nick said he did 4.
I mean, Gypsy didn't just unload that.
17 wounds, wasn't there? Nick said he did 4.
She unloaded that on her mom. It's and she just shot it and it was empty. And then she contradicts herself because in the documentary of the prison confessions, she's like, oh, thank God it was a pellet pew pew or whatever. And then she goes on Cal Lowry's podcast. I knew it was that. I knew it was a real pellet one the whole time. I knew it the whole time. The whole time. It's just no, you didn't. You were very, very adamant in that documentary that you had no idea until after you unloaded it on her. Oh, thank God it wasn't real. Go back and listen to that if you don't believe me. It's I heard, it's not like she said there's nowhere in that documentary where she knew in advance of what it was. She said, thank God it wasn't real. Why would you say that unless you thought it was real and then turned out it wasn't? So again, I've already put up so many debunk, videos about this, and I got about 15, 20, 30, 40 plus more coming soon. So I put one more up today. I put one more up, and those are getting some good traction, by the way. They started out with a couple of thousand views.
The biggest ones lately, though, is the fact that she did have leukemia.
Yeah, she did, because she had in her medical records, she had a bone marrow transplant, and that usually is most known for one thing. And you know what? Go to the event where she sings that little "I Believe." Go to that event, and it says, you can't hear it very well, but GRB Toothbrush posted this and really enhanced it. It goes, cancer. They introduced her as a cancer survivor. They introduced her as that, not someone inflicted with it, but they introduced her as a cancer survivor. So
which is why she rang the bell in the hospital.
Right. So, despite everything, while there was a lot of cons, I think, going on, Gypsy was, by and large, a sick child. And, different things at different times, due to her microdeletion. But as soon as I saw the bone marrow transplant in the medical records, I'm like, that is either leukemia or cancer related. It 100% is. There's no other reason a child would have that done. And again, there's none of those procedures, those serious procedures would get done because mommy said so, and then not only got the doctors to go along with this, but also the insurance companies as well. You think that she bamboozled insurance as well, and their doctors? No, that would never happen ever. And if it did, so let's pretend it did. Why not a single lawsuit? Where's all the lawsuits? Those would be lawsuits talked among Congress, and there's not one. So that that tells you everything you need to know right there. But anyways, guys, I'm going to cut this short. I got a couple things to do before 12 o'clock hits. So I'm glad.
Well, thanks for having me up, Justyn.
Yes, thank you guys for hanging out with me. I have a couple new videos out. I have some stuff coming out. I'm gonna also be covering the Lindsay Clancy trial. I've been doing a little bit on that. That's the one with the postpartum, the one that she unalived her 3 kids and tried unaliving herself. It was very sad, and it's tragic no matter what happens in the end with that case.
Right.
I'm gonna be doing some updates on that. Again, it's like I'm still covering Gypsy. I'm still, going straight forward with Gypsy's case and sticking to that topic. But I'm going to, since I am true crime Justyn, I'm going to try to get into other true crime cases, just, like kind of on the side or like in passing. So, you know what I mean? If you're interested in other things like that, I'll be doing that as well. But otherwise, it's like, I'm going to be doing another update on my current view of Ken, because it's changed over some time, and same with Ryan as well. People have been asking for it. Like, what's your current status on those men? So yeah, it's going to be one of those things where I'm going to do updated videos on like how I feel about both of them. So in the meantime, I'm going to get on that. And if you guys have anything else you want to request of me, just give me a DM or something, or leave it in the comments.
All right.
All right, you guys.
Have a good day.
All right, you guys have a good one.